entitled Knowledge of the Absolute. And this chapter has many famous verses. It's a very good one to review regularly. And the first verse has some essential principles for all of us in understanding how to begin, advance, and perfect our devotional service. So regardless of what level of practice you're currently on, this verse has something for everyone. So if you have a way to pull it up, we are reading from Bhagavad Gita 7.1. I'll say the Sanskrit and you can say it along with me if you have it there. Oh.
What's the verse number again?
7.1.
7.1. Okay.
So if you can, please repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Maya Sakta Mana Partha.
Maya Sakta Mana Partha.
Yogam Yunjan Mad Ashrayaha.
Yogam Yunjan Mad Ashrayaha.
Asamshayam Samagram Mam.
Samshayam Samagram Mam.
Yatha Yasyasi Tachtrinu. And I'll read the word for word here. I'll just read it. Actually, please repeat after me. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha.
The Supreme Lord said,
Supreme Lord,
Mayi, to me, Asakta Mana,
Asakta Mana,
mind attached, Partha, O son of Krita,
O son of Brihat,
Yogam,
Yogam,
self-realization, Yunjan, practicing, Mat Ashrayaha, in consciousness of me, Krishna consciousness, Asangshayam, without doubt, Samagram, completely, Mam, me, Yatha, how, Yasyasi, you can know, Tat, that, Shrinu, try to hear. And translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." Did you all hear that? Yes? Krishna is encouraging us, touch Trinu, just hear. Krishna is saying that if we practice properly this bhakti yoga process, we can know Him fully with no doubt. That's a pretty good deal. You can know Krishna completely. And it takes a certain quality of hearing and a quality of consciousness. I'll read Srila Prabhupada's purport so we can understand a bit more. In this 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the nature of Krishna consciousness is fully described. Krishna is full in all opulences, and how He manifests such opulences is described herein. Also, 4 kinds of fortunate people who become attached to Krishna and 4 kinds of unfortunate people who never take to Krishna are described in this chapter. In the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. I'll read that one more time. Are you all hearing attentively? Krishna is asking us, touch Trinu, just here. So What does Prabhupada say? By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahma Jyotir, or localized Paramatma realization, is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth, because it is partial. Full and scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is ultimate knowledge beyond any doubts. Different types of yoga are only stepping stones on the path to Krishna, the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahma Jyotir and Paramatma in full. By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely, the absolute truth, the living entities, the material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia. One should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam is the first and most important. The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, "Touch Trinu," or "Hear from me." No one can be a greater authority than Krishna, and therefore by hearing from him, one receives the greatest opportunity to become a perfectly Krishna-conscious person. One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart, puffed up with academic education. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the 2nd chapter of the 1st canto as follows. Please read these along with me, or say them if you know them. Shrinvatam swakatha Krishna punya shavana kirtana hridyantasto bhadrani vidhunoti suhrit satam nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki tadarajastamo bhava kama lobhadayaschaye chetayiteranavidham sthitam sattve prasidati evam prasana manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate bhidyate hridaya grantish chidyante sarva samshaya kshiyante chasya karmani drishta evatmanishware. And the translation: to hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a best-wishing friend and purifies the devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him. In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished. When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness, becomes enlivened by devotional service, and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection and enables one to come at once to the stage of asangshayam samagram, understanding of the Supreme Absolute Truth, Personality of Godhead. That's from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:2, 17 through 21. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I'll read this verse one more time. the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt." As I mentioned, this verse has a little bit for everyone. Krishna explains that we should practice yoga. What does yoga mean? Yoga means to connect with who? With Krishna. Krishna makes it clear in later in the Gita, in this chapter or soon after, that connecting to the devatas, the demigods, is for the less intelligent. Because Krishna is the one who is giving the results through the devatas. So if we are getting some benefits from Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesh, Goddess Lakshmi, these are all coming from Krishna. So an intelligent person goes to the source, not disrespecting the devatas, but understanding that everything I need can come from Krishna. And there's different types of yoga. Just in the last chapter, Krishna made it very clear which type of yoga is the most beneficial to practice. Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatinantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yoma samyukta tamo mataha. The person who is always thinking of me, they're always absorbed in me, in bhakti yoga is the highest yogi of all. This is my opinion, Krishna says. Why is bhakti the highest type of yoga? Because it requires, it essentially is a full surrender to Krishna. It's understanding the essence of Krishna's teachings in Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Give up all other types of dharma and just surrender unto me, Krishna says. And if we do this, then aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Then Krishna will free us from all of the troubles in our life. This is the intelligent approach, is just to recognize that Krishna can do everything and anything, and he's ready to do everything for us if we just ask for his help. That's all we have to do, is just turn to Krishna. Because we have so many troubles, don't we? In 2025 in Long Island, there's some troubles. Yes? No?
Yes.
Your lives are perfect. There's always different types of suffering we go through. Just being in a material body causes us pain, isn't it? When the temperature is just a little out of the range of 60 to 80 degrees, we start to get a little uncomfortable. We want to adjust the thermostat. You notice that if you sit for a long time, you start to feel pain. If you stand for a long time, you also start to feel pain. And as you age, that time duration decreases. These bodies are designed to give us pain. Even the most tiny little thing goes into your eyeball and you feel so much pain. Or you have a tiny little hole in your tooth and just, it's like you can't stand it, you can't think of anything else. These bodies are so good at giving us misery. So an intelligent person recognizes, I have so many troubles in my life and I can't solve them on my own. Trying to solve them on my own is like trying to water the different leaves of a tree, but it's not going to actually get to the root cause. An intelligent person sees the tree and waters the root. And who's the root? Is Krishna. So therefore, the intelligent person practices bhakti yoga and says, Krishna, please take care of me. I can't do this on my own. I'm yours. And in the other types of yoga, one is depending on one's own efforts. We think that we are strong enough, we are intelligent enough, we have enough money and resources and connections that we can solve all of our problems. But no matter how much we try, we're never going to be able to solve all of our problems. And the solutions we come up with to our problems usually create worse situations for ourselves. So the intelligent person takes to bhakti. And then Srila Prabhupada highlights the science of Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna in this verse is saying that if you practice properly, with mind fully absorbed in Krishna, then we can know him completely. We can know the absolute truth perfectly. How does Srila Prabhupada say it here? One can know everything in full. The absolute truth, who we are, what this world is, and everything we need to know to navigate this world. So Srila Prabhupada quotes the science of bhakti as given in Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's an amazing process. It's so simple you could miss it. And some people think that bhakti is for the less intelligent because it looks so simple. Oh, you're just singing and dancing. No, you need to be studying the scriptures. Like when our Lord Chaitanya was performing his pastimes in this world, on the altar here we have Lord Chaitanya on the right. He's Krishna himself, and he was doing his pastimes in Bengal, in Navadvip, and Jagannath Puri, some 500 years ago. And Lord Chaitanya interacted with this group of impersonalist sannyasis, headed by Prakashananda Saraswati. And they were criticizing Lord Chaitanya because Lord Chaitanya was propagating the Sankirtan movement, the chanting of the holy names, which is the Yuga Dharma. In this age it's said that Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam kalo nasti eva nasti eva nasti eva gatiranyata. There's no other way to perfect one's life than to chant the holy names of Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya was teaching and practicing the Sankirtan, and these Mayavad sannyasis were criticizing. They're saying that this is sentimentalism. A sannyasi, a real spiritualist, a real transcendentalist should study Vedanta. You should study the scriptures, and you should spend your full time doing that. And so Lord Chaitanya came, and he with great humility, he sat down in the place where they washed their feet, and he shined this beautiful effulgence, because Lord Chaitanya, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is incredibly beautiful. Sundar Chaitanya, he's Krishna himself. Krishna, what does Krishna mean?
Attracts everyone.
Krishna attracts everyone. That's his unique quality. Krishna, even more than Lord Narayan, Krishna has qualities that Lord Narayan doesn't have. And one of those qualities is Rupa Madhurya. He has this sweet form which is exquisitely beautiful. And Lord Chaitanya, in the same way, has an exquisitely beautiful form. He's called Gauranga because he has this golden complexion of Srimati Radharani. So Lord Chaitanya, sitting there in the midst of this group of impersonalist sannyasis, shone his beautiful effulgent rays, and all of these Mayavad sannyasis were attracted by his beauty and also by his humility. So the beauty of his character and the beauty of his form. And so they brought him up and wanted to hear from him. They said, "You're a sannyasi, and why are you doing this chanting and dancing? It's so, it's misguided. You should be studying the scriptures. You should join us." And so Lord Chaitanya, in his youth, what was Lord Chaitanya known as? He had a different title. He was called Nimai Pandit. Yeah, Lord Chaitanya was a great scholar. It's all a pastime. He knows everything. But in his Leela, Lord Chaitanya played Nimai Pandit, and he was a scholar of grammar. And he knew the Shastra very well. So he went to describe to the Mayavad sannyasis the conclusion of Vedanta, which is bhakti, which is chanting the holy names, which is what Krishna is saying in this verse here. Touch Trinu. You just hear. You hear Krishna's instructions. Prabhupada says from Krishna himself, or if Krishna isn't personally at your home to instruct you, does anyone have Krishna available? Then we hear from the pure devotee. So Lord Chaitanya brought and taught this science of bhakti, especially the chanting of the holy names. And if we spend our time chanting the names of Krishna, discussing Krishna's instructions from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, then the Bhagavatam tells us the amazing transformation that our life will undergo. What will happen? Well, as we begin to hear, Krishna personally begins to cleanse our heart of all of our anarthas. We have internal enemies, right? Lust, anger, greed, envy, illusion, all of these things plague us, and we're not able to do what we want to do. We're not able to be happy because we have these internal demons. And simply by hearing and chanting about Krishna, Krishna will come and he will cleanse our heart. I love how Srila Prabhupada in this translation says that Krishna acts as a best-wishing friend. Krishna has our best interest in mind. And he knows what our best interest is. We may have friends in our life, we may have family members who think they know our best interest, and they may push us in certain directions, but they don't actually know what our best interest is. Krishna knows what our best interest is, and he's perfectly capable of helping us to become fully happy. All we have to do is touch Trinu. We hear about Krishna. And then the process continues. We gradually develop our knowledge of who we are, who Krishna is. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Tesham satata yuktanam. For those who are always engaged in bhajatam priti purvakam, serving me with affection, then dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. I'll give you the knowledge you need to come back to me. Which is amazing. Like a friend of mine is from Cuba. I was just talking to him. He's living in Montreal right now. He's a brahmachari there, and he's in touch with some of his old friends from Cuba. And there's no devotees there. There's no ISKCON temple there, as far as I know. And he has a few people who are starting to chant, and they're interested to know more about Bhagavad Gita, but there's nobody they can practice with. And this is an essential feature of bhakti, is to practice in the association of other practitioners. So what do you do in such a situation? Well, Krishna can do anything. And for one who is in that situation, of course, if they have an opportunity, they should try. But what, are you going to ask someone to just move out of Cuba? Find another country where you can practice bhakti with others. No, Krishna can himself, he can help one to get the knowledge that they need to advance. Like there's a theology common in the world today that if you don't know one particular Messiah, then you will suffer forever after this life. So someone who's in that situation, if there's no one there to tell them about Jesus Christ, then they're finished. But no, it's so amazing to recognize what Krishna is saying here, is that if someone is just sincere, then He will give them exactly what they need to advance and perfect their life. So one awakens transcendental knowledge. And then what happens? We begin to become freed from passion and ignorance, and we become fixed in the mode of goodness. And then stitam sattve prasidati. We become fixed in the mode of goodness, and we become very happy. Because living a life in harmony with Krishna's arrangement of this world, living with illumination, with knowledge, this is the life of sattva guna, the life of the brahmana. If we can get ourselves in this mode of goodness, then we can feel great happiness. But then it goes on, and what happens is we come to understand the science of God perfectly, and the knot in our heart that is holding us, that is binding us to this world, becomes pierced, and we become freed. And then when we leave our bodies, we can return to Krishna in the spiritual world. So here we get a condensed explanation of the progression of the science of bhakti. Now, just to focus in a little bit on the quality required to make this process happen. We may say, yes, it sounds very nice, but how do I do it? Of course, just hearing, but there's a certain quality of hearing which is required. We may be coming regularly and hearing, we may be regularly chanting, but is there a transformation happening in our hearts? Do we really feel week after week, year after year, that we're evolving? What's required, Krishna says here, is asakta mana, to have our mind attached. So this means that it's not just an external process. Although we may come and sit and listen, we may sit in a kirtan, we may sit in a class, we may have beads in our hands, but what is happening inside, in our mind and our heart? Are we thinking about something else? I can say certainly that even after years of trying to bring my mind to focus, it's still my worst enemy, and it's constantly taking me anywhere but to Krishna's name. So we have to seriously strive to bring our mind under control. Krishna says that it can be our best friend or it can be our worst enemy, depending on whether or not we have it under control. So what advice does Krishna give? How do we control our mind? Arjuna says, Krishna, this seems impossible. It's more difficult than, what does he say? Controlling the wind. More difficult than controlling the wind to control our own mind. But Krishna says it is possible by two things. Abhyasa, practice, and practice. So detachment is the way Prabhupada translates it. But yoga yukta, that's the Sanskrit there. So detachment from matter, attachment to Krishna. And he gives the simple instruction that from wherever the mind wanders, bring it back under the control of the self. So it's a long battle. It's a long battle. We're talking about the absolute truth. We're talking about the supreme personality of Godhead. If we think it will be easy, then we're cheating ourselves. But there's nothing else worth striving for, actually. Don't we work very hard for our material goals? Yes? Those of you who have come from India to America, you had to work very hard to make that happen. Even to stay in America takes a lot of work, doesn't it? Even if you're born in America, just to survive, just to make a living, especially in Long Island. Like Maharaj was telling me, one devotee who chose not to live here because it's so expensive and bought a house for a fraction of the price in Alabama, in in Louisiana. Yes. Much less beautiful place. But just to have our body healthy, just to keep our family in good spirits, to have a roof over our heads takes so much work. And what to speak of our bigger goals in life, to give our children a college education, to leave some sort of legacy in this world. We work very hard for these things. So why shouldn't we work very hard for Krishna, for the absolute goal of life? It's not that just 99% of my time I'll do my personal goals and then a little bit I'll work on realizing the supreme absolute truth. You see how it's out of alignment with reality. There's nothing else worth striving for in this world. There's nothing else worth striving for but understanding our relationship with Krishna. Because if we have our relationship with Krishna, then what else do we need? Just imagine the 6 Goswamis you see on the bottom right of our altar. These 6 Goswamis were the principal disciples of Lord Chaitanya. They were actually very wealthy. Some of them, like Rupa Goswami, was so wealthy he had a boat full of gold. He worked for the Muslim, like something like Prime Minister, the Nawab Hussain Shah. They were so fabulously wealthy, and yet they left it all tucha, like it was insignificant, and they went to live under trees to write books of knowledge which we still study to this day. And how are they able to do that? How can you give up so much wealth? Imagine someone living in this neighborhood, giving up their home and just going to sleep on the beach of Long Island, just chanting the names of God. What does it take? And if you have that, what else do you need? So we're not saying here that we should follow this, we should immediately give up everything, or that it's even required as one advances. But the point is, if we have Krishna, we need nothing else. We will feel so much happiness within, so much satisfaction, that we won't care for anything. We will responsibly act in the world still, Krishna encourages this, and yet we won't need anything from this world. We can be detached from others' opinions of us. We can be detached from the intense material progression. You need to buy a new phone, you need to buy a new car, you need to get a new house, you need to get a second house. You need to, all of these goals, right? And if you have Krishna, you don't need anything else. So, this whole train of thought is to emphasize that it's simple, the practice of bhakti, but it requires our sincere effort. If we really want to achieve the goal of life, if we really want to know Krishna fully, to know who we are, then we've got to put in our work, our effort. And Krishna, seeing our effort, will reciprocate. There's the famous example of Mother Yashoda, how she was trying so hard to bind little Krishna in his Damodar Leela, and she was working so hard and getting all of the different ropes from the whole village, and everyone's laughing and having a good time and amazed by the whole situation. Because Mother Yashoda, she dresses Krishna. Every morning she and her servants help dress little Krishna. And it's no problem to tie a little belt on Krishna in the morning. But now here she is, and she's getting all the ropes in the village, and she can't bind Krishna. Because unless Krishna chooses, only then he can be known. Only then he can be bound. Because for one who has pure love of Krishna, Krishna becomes like a slave. It's said, Krishna is sold out. He'll do whatever his pure devotees want. And this is why it's very rare to get this pure love of Krishna. And so Krishna, seeing Mother Yashoda's intense effort, the flowers falling out of her hair, sweat beads forming on her forehead, Krishna assented and allowed himself to be bound. So like this, we have to put in our effort. So to conclude, I'll just leave us on a practical note. And then if you have any comments or questions, we can take those. What can we do to show Krishna we're really sincere, that we're really putting in our effort? Well, if you have a relationship with someone you love, then you'll set some time aside for them, right? You spend quality time with someone you love? Yes? No? Yes? Say yes. When you love someone, you spend quality time with them. If you're not doing this, maybe there's an issue in relationships. So like that with Krishna, we should spend some quality time. Exclusive time, just with Krishna, nothing else. Not that we're doing some chanting and talking to someone, doing some chanting and texting or watching something. No, exclusive time, just me and Krishna. And it's a little painful to do this. Why? Because we chose to turn away from Krishna, and we think that our happiness will be in not being with Krishna. So to turn back to Krishna, it goes against our conditioning. It feels a little uncomfortable to just sit and do nothing else but be with Krishna. But if you do this, then you gradually learn the art. I guess I should say you realize that Krishna is there. To even a small degree, you can feel Krishna's presence, you can feel Krishna's reciprocation, and you feel relief. Many problems will go through your mind as you're sitting there with Krishna, and then you just say, Krishna, I can't deal with these things. I have all these thoughts about money and family and career and to-do lists and the car and the taxes and my health and all of these things. Krishna, I can't do this. It's too much. I need you. And so if we can spend some quality time chanting, especially in the early morning when there's nothing else happening, and whatever goes through our mind and heart, we just say, Krishna, I can't do this without you. Please help me. Anyway, whatever intelligence we get to do things, Krishna is giving us. Mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna says that all knowledge, all remembrance comes from him. So we just consciously recognize, Krishna, you're the one who's given me all of my money, all of my intelligence, whatever skills I have to navigate this world. It's coming from you, so please just help me depend on you. If we spend time every day with Krishna like this, maya asakta, asakta mana. Maybe our mind isn't fully attached to Krishna, but we can practice this, turning to Krishna. And then, simply by doing this on a regular basis, in the association, coming into the association of devotees, hearing it really attentively, then Krishna says we can one day know him in full, free from all doubts. And this is the birthright of us all. It is the desire of Lord Krishna. He wants this to happen more than we even do. So if we just show a little sincerity, Krishna will give us so much help. So please take this lesson back home with you, and for the next week, let's all reflect on how we can spend more quality time with Krishna. And thank you for allowing me to share some thoughts here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So any reflections or questions you'd like to raise?
Anyone who has a question, please come to the microphone back here and state your question.
Into the microphone so that everybody can hear it, and our speaker, Brihat, as well.
I had a question, Leah.
So, it's said that by focusing on Krishna, one becomes purified and one becomes attached. And one gets knowledge, particularly in 7.1, we get knowledge, we become purified, and we become attached by focusing on Krishna. But unless we have some attachment, we can't focus. So it seems like we have something out of a catch-22. Can you say anything about that?
We can't focus on Krishna because we're not yet attached to him. And to focus on him, we need some attachment. Yes, Krishna addresses this in the 12th chapter of the Gita. He says that the best thing is to always think of me. How does it go? He says that just fix your mind upon me and engage your intelligence in me, and thus you will live in me always without a doubt. This is the best thing. Then he says, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. So we're cultivating this desire, like an appetite. Maybe if you have poor digestion, you have some health issue, you can't eat very much. But there are Ayurvedic herbs you can take, there are lifestyle adjustments you can make so that you can increase your appetite. So right now we may have a little appetite, or maybe no appetite for Krishna. Perhaps we chant japa or kirtan or sit in a class and we're not so moved. I can say for myself, sometimes I fall asleep when I'm chanting. I lose my consciousness. And what we need to do is, like the Ayurvedic routine, we need to take the proper medicine, which is prasadam, and we need to adjust our lifestyle, which means spend quality time with Krishna, chant japa, do kirtan on a regular basis. So that's what I can say is we need to do what Krishna says and develop a desire to attain him. Thank you, Maharaj, for your question. And others, even if you don't have a question, you can just share something you heard that was impactful, something you heard that you felt was relevant. Yes, Prabhu, please.
Yes, but that's, I like that answer, and that 12th chapter has that whole explanation of how one goes from about Krishna to I can't live without Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Jamuna
So
Prabhu.
like you were saying in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives so many different yogic paths, right? And then say that all of this can lead to the goal. So why is Bhakti Yoga considered to be the best and most effective and recommended?
Thank you. Why is Bhakti the best? Well, karma entails acting, jnana entails knowing, bhakti entails loving. If you love someone, you naturally do things for them, right? Is this true? If you're not shaking your head, yes, I'm concerned about your relationships. If you do something if you love someone, you do something for them. Say yes. Yes. And if you love someone, you know about them. Yes? Shake your head, yes. Otherwise, uh-oh. Do you know your family members? Do you know your friends? Do you ask them about themselves regularly? Are you aware of what's going on in their hearts? Do you know what kind of person they are? That means we love them. So bhakti means that we automatically do the lower types of bhakti. It's included in there. If you have love for Krishna, then everything else is included. That's one perspective I can share. Yamuna Prabhu. What would you add, Prabhu? I'm sure there's plenty you can add on this question. Can you please share some thought?
The other type of practice is considered to be like indirect Like, you know, the yogic Ashtanga yoga, you have to control the mind, control the senses. It's like an indirect thing. Whereas with Bhakti Yoga, through devotion, love, you just you don't have to restrain the mind or control the mind. You just use the mind and everything that you're doing as a service to Krishna, as Krishna recommended to Arjuna, that, like you were saying, the 99 things that we have to do when we put 1% for Krishna, but Krishna tell Arjuna, your 99%, just do it as a service to me.
Yes. That's a great point, Yamuna Prabhu, is that Bhakti Yoga is very practical. So we don't have to give up everything. In Jnana Yoga, you have to renounce the world. But in Bhakti, you can do everything for Krishna. You can stay with your family, stay with your work, just connect everything to Krishna. Yes.
And with Gyan involves some speculation, trying to figure out who is the Supreme, what he is, what he looks like, you know, who is this fella.
Yeah, and the easiest way to get to know someone is how?
Ask them.
You ask them. Do you just sit there and think, what are they like? No, you ask them. Yeah, thank you, Yamuna Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
This is your servant, Bhagavan Naraharidas.
Bhagavan Narahari Prabhu, nice to meet you.
Prabhuji, you said if you do the Krishna consciousness, everything get material, everything get fulfilled. In like, maybe I'm not repeating exactly what you say, but what I understand, kind of. So forgive me. But even we doing service in temple, doing Krishna consciousness, but we still have a lot of hesitation about our material life every single moment. Like you, I can not be in that platform yet, but in future, if you give me mercy, the Krishna will give me mercy, maybe I can be in that level of understanding about Krishna. But still, we have a lot of hesitation. Okay, if I go to temple, I lose my few hours. In these few hours, I can make some dollar, which helps my family. And so even we are in Krishna consciousness, why we have a lot of hesitation like that? It's for me, maybe others not. But if you can give me.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Bhagavan Narahari Prabhu. We're practicing bhakti and yet we still hesitate, we don't have full confidence in Krishna. Yes. It takes time to develop such a level of faith. And Krishna is telling us, touch Trinu. We need to hear about him, because what happens when we hear about Krishna is our understanding of reality becomes purified. And we develop the proper sambandha jnana. Without the proper understanding of who am I, who is Krishna, then we won't be able to fully practice in a strong way, a tivrena bhakti. So we need to have a strong platform of sambandha jnana through hearing about Krishna. So on a regular basis, we should read Srila Prabhupada's books because he makes the sambandha jnana abundantly clear. And if we hear day after day after day that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna has unlimited wealth, Krishna has unlimited intelligence, Krishna is our best friend and master, then we start to develop an understanding, okay, Krishna will take care of me. And then by experience, so we put ourselves out on a limb a little bit. We say, okay, Krishna, I'll go and spend some hours at the temple. I know I'm having a material loss here. Or even chanting 2 hours of japa. If you get initiated, you're spending 2 hours of your day. Imagine, 7 days a week, 2 hours, multiply that by your hourly wage. That's a lot of money. We're giving up a lot. And yet, we start to notice that kleshagni shubhada, the first two symptoms of practicing devotional service, is that our troubles disappear, our life becomes auspicious, and things start to work out magically. So it takes time. That's the essence. We need to have patience. Apply the process, take the medicine, and give the process time. Yes. Thank you, Bhagavan Nahari Prabhu. And just a final point on that question is that by serving those devotees, by associating with, hearing from those devotees who have such faith, they can bless us with a similar faith. So that's the real shortcut. We need to surround ourselves with the strongest association possible, those devotees who have full faith in Krishna. And then we can develop such faith. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes. And remind me your name one more time.
His name is Greg.
Hare
Greg.
Krishna, yes, my name is.
Hare Krishna, Greg. Thank you for being here.
Iceland.
I'm from Iceland.
Yes, I think you partially answered the question I'm about to ask, but I wondered if you could talk some about cultivating the proper path for a non-devotee, someone who's not initiated and may not necessarily be on that same path. Someone who's
How do you get started?
well, how do you get started, and how do you continue to stay focused and in that mode of cultivation where you're bringing yourself closer and closer to Krishna consciousness, without becoming an actual full devotee?
Yes, thank you. Well, first thing is that there are different definitions of what is a devotee that Lord Chaitanya gave. And one definition is anyone who just says the name of Krishna once is a devotee. So in that perspective, all of us are very much devotees. And then taking the process very seriously and taking initiation is an important step, taking the guidance of a guru. But to get started, the main thing is to regularly have the association of serious practitioners. If you regularly spend time with serious devotees, they will naturally want to help you. They'll naturally give you prasadam. They'll naturally talk to you about Krishna. They'll naturally be able to answer your questions. They'll naturally say, hey, do you want to do some kirtan? Hey, do you want to read with me? So that's the main thing. Is just surround yourself with devotees. So it may not be practical immediately. We can't all just give up everything and go live with devotees in a temple. So at least coming regularly like this. But also there are many ways online that you can connect with devotees. There are different Zoom sanghas. Even our Chandrasekhar Maharaj is thinking to start some sort of online practice, online programs where you can connect. So you come here as much as possible, but even during the week when you're not able to come, then find some ways online. There's Wisdom of the Sages. Prabhu, just this morning we're wearing the shirt. There's this regular morning Bhagavatam you can join. So that's what I'll keep it very simple. Just find association. And then take up a daily practice of chanting. Take up one round of chanting and gradually increase. Yeah, thank you, Greg. So anything final before we close?
Okay, so I think we'll end there. Thank you very much for giving the class.
Thank you, Maharaj.
We'll have more Arti. I'll break down the video equipment. And then after that, we'll have little Arti for Shringadev and the prayers for Prasadam. So stay with us the next couple of weeks. As I said, next Sunday will be our Balaram Purim. We'll have our Balaram's appearance day next Saturday. Although technically it's celebrated on Friday. If you want to do it on Friday, you can go to Brooklyn. They'll doubtless have on Brooklyn on Friday. And the following week is Janmashtami, which it will be celebrated on Saturday. Janmashtami is Saturday, not Friday. Saturday, and then Sunday, the day after, 2 Sundays from now, will be Prabhupada Appearance Day, which we will be under the tent over on the back there. So we look forward to hopefully seeing a lot of you during that time. Thank you again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Whatever you want.